Namami buddhaṃ gunasāgaraṃ sattā sadā hontu sukhiyaverā kāyo jigunco sakalo dugando gaccanti sabbe Maranaṃ ahañca Avijja paramaṃ malanti. Homage to the exalted one, the worthy one, the supremely enlightened one. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Dear friends in Dhamma, today we are going to discuss one of the main topics in Buddhism, moha or avijja, in English, delusion or ignorance. Actually, we have discussed this topic several times, but again and again when we discuss this topic, we are going to the deeper level. Buddha says there are 5 doors or entrances of liberation, as we mentioned before. In the discourse of Vimuttayatana, the places of liberation, Buddha has explained 4 places, 4 entrances or doors where we can enter the liberation. They are listening to Dhamma, preaching Dhamma, reflecting Dhamma, chanting Dhamma, and meditation. And also, whatever we do in these 5 places, our mindfulness and mindful meditation should increase. All Buddhist doctrines can be standard on mindfulness and mindful meditation, or in Pali, Sati Sampajanya, mindfulness and wisdom. Whatever we do in the name of Buddhism to overcome suffering, our mindfulness and wisdom should gradually increase. Whenever we listen to Dhamma, when we preach in Dhamma, when we reflecting on Dhamma, when we discussing or chanting Dhamma, when we meditate, our mindfulness and wisdom should gradually develop. That is the purpose of all Buddhist doctrines that Buddha has explained for 45 years in his life. And here also, when you are listening to Dhamma, your mindfulness and wisdom gradually develop. That is the purpose of listening to Dhamma. When we listen to Dhamma, when we discuss in Dhamma, when we chant Dhamma, when we reflect on Dhamma, when we meditate, mindfulness and wisdom gradually increase. And this is the purpose of Buddhist doctrines, Buddhist teachings. Here today, we are going to discuss moha or avijja. Buddha says, avijja paramam malang. Ignorance is the most severe defilement. There are 3 defilements: negative thoughts, impediments, evil thoughts that disturb our peace of mind. Impediments. Have you heard it? Impediments means negative thoughts, or defilements, or evil thoughts, negative emotions. And according to Buddhism, all negative thoughts, defilements, unwholesome mental state can be included into 3. They are greed, anger, and delusion. There are several synonyms that we can see for greed: lust, desire, lustful desire, attachment or covetousness. There are several synonyms that we can see in Buddhism for greed. And also, the second defilement is that dosa or particle in Pali language. In English, anger or ill will or hatred. The next one is moha or avijja, in English, delusion or ignorance. These are the real enemies who disturb our peace of mind. Buddha says, it is very easy to defeat millions of, hundreds of enemies in the battlefield. It is not the real victory. What is the real victory? Yes, defeating our negative thoughts, unwholesome mental states, greed, anger and delusion. Especially, our success depends on how far we have eradicated ignorance or delusion. When Buddha attained enlightenment, when Buddha appeared in this world, there were a lot of ascetic people who had eradicated their greed and anger. Not only for this life, but for millions of eons, they had eradicated their greed and anger. In short, with details, 5 hindrances: kamachanda, sensual pleasure; vyapada, ill will; and theenamidda, sloth and torpor; uddhacca, restlessness and scruples; and vicikiccha, skeptical doubt. These are the 5 hindrances. When Buddha appeared in the world, people had understood only these 5 hindrances. After Buddha appeared in the world, after Buddha attained enlightenment, Buddha discovered another defilement, hindrance that disturb our peace of mind, which is ignorance or delusion. That is the special thing in Buddhism, understanding ignorance. That is why Buddha says, Avijja paramam malang, ignorance is the more severe defilement. The more we reduce ignorance or delusion, the more we can reduce greed and anger. Delusion is like the main switch or trip switch. When we put off the trip switch, automatically other devices are put off. Like that. But in the primary level, Buddha has explained some primary techniques that we can reduce the power of some negative thoughts such as greed and anger. That is why Buddha has explained, Buddha has encouraged us to practice generosity, loving kindness and virtue or moral conduct. When we practice generosity, we can reduce attachment or greed. And also when we practice 5 precepts, we can reduce anger. And also when we practice loving kindness, we can eradicate anger or ill will. And also when we practice meditation or when we listen to Dhamma, we can overcome ignorance in some levels. And little by little, when we go to the deeper level, we can understand the defilements that disturb our peace of mind, and also we can reduce them, we can overcome them. For that, Buddha says, in the primary level, we practice generosity and the impurity of body parts, 5 precepts, loving kindness. But it is not the real solution for getting rid of delusion. In the primary level, we should practice them, but when we go to the deeper level, we should have another technique that practicing insight meditation for vipassana bhavana. When Buddha met some gifted person who were very intelligent or wise, then Buddha directly explained the vipassana bhavana or insight meditation. Like as you know, when Buddha met Bahya Daruchirya and King Pukusati, Panchavaggiya Bhikkhu, 5 ascetic people, and Sariputta, Buddha directly explained the significance of insight meditation because they were gifted persons. They had developed their wisdom to the maximum level in their previous lives. Then Buddha had to explain only the direct path for the liberation. Vimukti Magga, the deliverance path. They didn't want to ask the heavenly path because they were gifted persons. Among us, we can see some gifted people like you. However, Buddha usually explains his path as a gradual path from the beginning to end. Sila, Samadhi, Prajna, virtue, concentration and wisdom. That is the gradual path. Buddha usually says that I don't explain the highest thing, the wisdom at the beginning on the path of liberation. In Buddha's word, Buddha says, Naham bhikkhave adikenewa anyārādhanam vadāmi. I don't explain the highest level wisdom at the beginning. In his speech, he explains the wisdom as a gradual path. Little by little we can reach the destination. And however, it is very important to understand this gradual path. As we mentioned before, there are 3 unwholesome mental states that disturb our peace of mind. They are greed, anger, and delusion. Okay? When we listening to Buddha's message, little by little we understand the nature of these 3 unwholesome mental states. And also, in the primary level, with the understanding of the karmic law, when we make good association, Buddha says, if we want to overcome ignorance or delusion, we should develop wisdom. If we want to develop wisdom, we have 4 things. We should have 4 factors, 4 causes. They are associating good friends, listening to Dhamma, reflecting Dhamma, and practicing Dhamma. These are the factors or causes which help us to overcome ignorance and achieve wisdom. Then, in the first level, with association, good association, we start this path practicing generosity. When we practice generosity, when we practice 5 precepts, then we meet good friends who follow the same thing. Then we can listen to Dhamma with the good association. When we listen to Dhamma, we understand little by little you should practice some doctrines, some teachings in our life. And also, with the understanding of the karmic law, what is the meaning of karmic law? Whatever we do with intention, physically, verbally or mentally, we will have the same results. Mind is wicked, results are evil, results are bad. Mind is pure, results are fruitful. If you have this understanding, we try to overcome evils. Sabba papa sakarana. The reason is we don't like to suffer. We need to overcome suffering. That is why, little by little, we keep our mind pure and calm. Then, first of all, we are generous. And also, we practice loving kindness. We always contemplate on may all beings be well, happy and peaceful. The more we practice loving kindness, the more we are generous. The more we practice loving kindness, the more we have compassion. The more we practice loving kindness, the more we practice five precepts. The more we practice loving kindness, the more we have sympathetic joy, mudita. The more we practice loving kindness, the more we have equanimity. We make an unshakable mind. With this understanding, when we practice dana, sila and bhavana, generosity, virtue and meditation, as the result of practicing this path, we always keep our mind pure and calm, like a mind of Brahma being. That is why Buddha says, Susukamata jivama verinesu averino, verinesu manussesu viharama verino. Again Buddha says, Susukamata jivama yesanno natti kinchanang pitibakha bhavisama deva abhasarayata. Let's live happily without any defilements, without any impediments. Buddha says, feed us joy, shall we be even the God of radiant beings. Piti Bhakha Vaisama Deva Abhasarayata. Then we are like the Brahma beings who are in the Brahma realm. And this is the highest result that we practice in the mundane level. This is the mundane level in the samsaric circle. Still we think that there is a world. Still we are not away from ignorance. Ignorance can be divided into two. One of them is unknowing of karmic law. But in this level, we have overcome the misunderstanding of the karmic law. You know, there are some people in this world, they don't believe any karmic actions or results. But, you know, before Buddha appeared in the world, there were some people who had realized the karmic law. And also, they had attained some kind of levels in this mundane level. When Buddha was born in this world, there were some ascetic people who developed their mind to the maximum level in the Brahma realm. And also, in this level, Buddha says, Avijja paccaya sankhara. Mental formations arise because of ignorance or delusion. Mental formations or thoughts can be divided into two. Sankhara. Sankhara, phenomena, mental formations can be divided into two. One of them which belong to the samsaric circle, which consists with ignorance or delusion. Even though we have understanding about the karmic law in this level, still we are in ignorance. What is that? When we experience something, we think that there was something here. And also after we experience, we think that still it is happening. When you left your home, when you think it, or if you don't think it, you may think that they are there. It is there. Even though you experience your previous experiences, you think that it's still there happening. It is true in this level, but when we go to the next level, in the supramundane level, it is not true. Your world depends on when you think it. When you don't think, they are not there. They are there when you think in this level, but when you go to the deeper level, your world arises when you think something. If you don't think your daughter, you don't have a daughter. When you don't think your home, you are homeless. And when you don't think your ma'am, your ma'am is dead. Whenever you think about your ma'am, your mother is alive. Like that. Whatever you don't think, at the moment everything is dead. Your life arises when you think something through your senses. And if we have this understanding, when we think something, we suddenly look at inside. Ordinary people, when we think something, when they think something, they suddenly go to the material world. When we think their mom, they think their mom's physical body, physical experiences. Then we are ready to go back to mom. Even though we die, we are not away from our mom. That is the nature of the samsaric circle. If we want to overcome this samsaric circle, we have to overcome this ignorance. On the other side, when we experience something, when we look at this wall, we think that this wall can be realized by everyone at the same way what I experience. And also, if I understand this wall, I think that wherever, whenever I experience, I can experience this wall in the same way. Actually, that is not true. This is a wall for my world at this moment. This is a good person for my world at this moment. Next moment, he or she is bad. Now I am a good person to your world at this moment. If I blame you, suddenly your world changes. Not I change. I don't change, but your world changes. That is the nature of our life. If we can understand this life, this reality, actually we don't struggle with this experience. We need to only understand.
I have a question. So, after death, you said the thoughts are still there after death, because when we think about our mother, then we come back to that place, you said. So, we still have thoughts even after death. No?
Actually, we have thoughts, but that thoughts alive when we think it. It is not permanent. But ordinary people may think that even though I don't think about my ma'am, she is in my mind. Actually, it is not like that. Our all experiences are like the shadow or reflection of our mirror. Our reflection is alive when we go to the mirror. But like innocent pets, when they go to the mirror, they are ignorant. They may think that before they go to mirror, there was someone. That is why they bark. But we human beings are not ignorant in front of the mirror, but we are ignorant everywhere. We think that even though we don't think something, it is still happening. Even though you are here, you think your vehicle is on the street. Sometimes it may be towed. And however, we have the final experience. Always we have the final experience. Always we renew it. That is why we ask, we call. When we call someone, we are what happened? How is he? Always we renew, we update the information. And according to our ignorance, we update everything, every moment. If we can't update, then we are surprised. We ask them, what happened to you? That is the nature of our life. That is the nature of our ignorance. If we want to overcome this ignorance, we have to light wisdom. What is the wisdom? Wisdom means the silver line of the understanding of the deliverance path is that impermanent. Ahutva sambhutam putva nabhavisati. Not being occurred comes to occurrence. Being occurred will not go to occurrence. Our all experiences, our 6 senses, 6 external objects, and 18 rules of fundamental things are impermanent. It means they arise at the moment. According to conditions, they immediately cease. I is impermanent. Forms are impermanent. I consciousness is impermanent. Ear is impermanent. Sounds are impermanent. Ear consciousness is impermanent. Everything arises at the moment. They immediately ceases. That is the final solution. Reflecting on this impermanence is the final solution for getting rid of suffering. Little by little, we need to reflect on this reality. Then one day, we have a time that whatever we experience, we are like that when we go to the mirror. As soon as we go to the mirror, we know very well that this reflection arises at the moment. One day, as the result of practicing 3 disciplines, virtue, concentration, and wisdom, as soon as we experience something, we suddenly know that this world is created by myself at this moment. Then we don't depend on outside. Suddenly we look at inside. Then we don't depend on anything nor anyone outside. For that, Buddha explained the gradual path. In one side, we develop the spirituality in the mundane level by practicing 3 meritorious deeds: Dana, Sila and Bhavana. As the result of practicing 3 meritorious deeds, we receive some benefits. What they are? When we practice Dana, Sila, Bhavana, we receive some visible results. They are Ayu, 1 Sattva Bala, longevity, good complexion, happiness, and strength. Why do we need to develop these benefits in our life? Why do we need longevity? Why do we need good health? For practicing Dhamma, to practice Dhamma. That is why we need these things. Ordinary people need these things to enjoy their life with sensual pleasure. But we receive these things to develop our spiritual world, spiritual happiness, spiritual success. And we need these facilities to overcome suffering in this immediate life itself. And also, as the result of practicing these good deeds, especially we need good association if we have good qualities with at the same level. The more qualities that we have, we meet the more quality who have. Especially when we go to the next level, in the supramundane level, we should have some qualities according to the Metta Sutta, Karani Metta Sutta. Sakko, skillfulness; ujucha, honesty; upright, not conceit; good listening, active listening; there are 14 qualities. All of them can be included into 3. They are honestly, gently spoken, and wisdom or nipata, or we should be wise. These 3 qualities are very important in the supramandan level. In this level, we should have some qualities such as gratitude, generosity, virtue are in this level. In this mundane level, who seeking a blissful life hereafter, they need the quality of generosity, virtue, and gratitude. That is why Buddha says, Kevala hesa bhikkhave sappursa bhumi yadidam katanyuta katavedi. All good qualities depend on gratitude in this level. We need these qualities, especially generosity and virtue, for a blissful life hereafter. First of all, we need this assurance, insurance, guarantee, refuge that we never fall into hell. Buddha was so kind. That is why, first of all, Buddha pointed out the path, how we receive a blissful life, how we never fall into hell. Even though we live happily for 100 years, if we go to hell after we die, everything that we earned is useless. That is why we should have a good assurance, insurance, guarantee that we never fall into hell. For that, we should be generous, and especially we should practice 5 precepts. And also we should practice loving kindness in this level. But when we go to the next level, we don't need to practice those things. It doesn't mean that we are away from these qualities. Actually, already we have these qualities. But in this level, we should have more qualities. They are especially, we should be gently spoken, we should be wise, and we should be honest. These 3 qualities are very important for those who are seeking for deliverance path. Yes?
The sutra again for the next level.
Sutra? Supramandan level?
Yes. You gave a sutra and I just...
Karaniyametta Sutta? Karaniyametta Sutta, Metta Sutta, Karaniyametta Kusalena Yantan Santampanna Amisamecce. Yantan Santampanna. He who is seeking a peaceful state should practice these qualities. Sakko, ujocha, suojocha, suojocha, samudvanatimani. Sakko, he should be skillful, he should be honest, he should be upright, he should be gently spoken, he should be not conceited. Those are the qualities. There are 14 qualities. All of them can be included, summarized into 3. They are, we should be gently spoken, we should be ready to listen to other people say. And also we should be honest. What is the honesty in this level? What is the honesty? Honesty has a deep meaning in this level. In the mundane level we say that if we tell truth, that is the symbol of, that is the example of honesty. But in this level it has a deep meaning. What is that meaning of honesty? Whatever we do for our spiritual life, we should think, we should reflect on whether my Tusna, Tanha, Dittimana, my greed, self-view and conceit increase or decrease. Whenever we do for a spiritual life, we should think again and again, when I do these things, whether my greed, self-view or own view and conceit increase or decrease. When these negative emotions increase, I don't do it. When these negative thoughts decrease, I do them. That is very important. But some people don't know it. That is why in this level, when they do some meritorious deeds, their conceit, their self-view goes up. Unfortunately, they don't know this pattern. That is why they can list their meritorious deeds. These things I have done. But their conceit has gone to the maximum level. The more they live, the more their conceit increases. But as the people who listening to Buddha's real message, we should eradicate these three things: tanha, ditthi, mana, greed, self-view and conceit, little by little. And also, we are discussing the moha. Moha means, if we think there is particular thing inside or outside, that is one of the signs of ignorance. It doesn't mean there isn't something outside. Buddha never says there isn't something outside or inside. If someone says that there is something, that is an extreme. If someone says there isn't something, that is also an extreme. Buddha says, Asmin satidang hoti. When we open our eye, we can see something. That is alive when we open our eyes. And immediately it ceases. Not only it arises when we open our eye, but we should have consciousness. There are 10 reasons at the moment. Eye forms, eye consciousness, like that. There are 10 factors happen at the same time. Then we can experience something. They are like this sound. This sound arises with the conditions at the moment. Because of these reasons, this sound arises, but this result, this experience doesn't belong to any reason. Because of my fingers and my effort, this sound arises, but this sound doesn't belong to my fingers, this sound doesn't belong to my ears, even this sound doesn't belong to even my consciousness. But without any reason, this sound doesn't arise, but this sound doesn't belong to any reason. That is the nature of the reality. If someone doesn't know this reality, he is ignorant. That is the nature of delusion. And little by little, we should overcome this ignorance, listening to Dhamma. Listening to Dhamma, reflecting Dhamma, practicing Dhamma, meditating. And the very first thing that we should understand, knowledge. Wisdom or knowledge can be included into 3. Sutame jnana, chintame jnana and bhavaname jnana. Sorry. The knowledge of listening, the knowledge of reflecting, the knowledge of meditation. Knowledge is very important. Buddha says, I proclaim liberation for those who know the path, who see the path. Before we start this path, we should have clear understanding as the Sutame Jnana, the knowledge of listening to. That is very important. First of all, we should have this understanding throughout good association, listening to Dhamma. Then, when we practice for the mindfulness, by practicing Dhammanupassana, if you read Satipatthana Sutta again, you can understand. When you practice Dhammanupassana, the contemplation of mental formations, there you realize 4 noble truths. At the beginning, in the Samma Ditti, you listening to Dhamma throughout good association by practicing 4-fold mindfulness. At the end of the practice, we realize through our wisdom the 4 noble truths. Dukkha, Samudaya, Nirodha, Magga. Dukkha, the suffering or the unsatisfactoriness. Samudaya Satya, the origin of suffering, the cessation of suffering, and the path that leads to cessation from suffering. And for that, Buddha says the importance of knowledge throughout listening to Dhamma, and not only we listening to Dhamma, but we have to reflect on it again and again. When you work at home, when you work at your workplace, you should think this path again and again. Then you refresh your understanding and you live in the Dhamma. Not only that, when you have a lesser time, you should try to meditate, especially sitting meditation and walking meditation. That is also very important. Keeping our attention in the present moment, contemplating on our body, feelings, consciousness and mental formations. Again and again, we understand what happens to my body, feelings, consciousness and mental formations. Keeping our attention in the present moment by practicing mindfulness and reflecting on impermanence, we realize what happens to my body and mind. Then we don't need to overcome suffering. Buddha says suffering should be realized, should be understood. And Samudaya Satya, Dukkha Satya, Satchikātabba. Dukkha Satya, Ñātabba. The truth of suffering should be realized. The truth of origin of suffering should be removed. The cessation of suffering should be achieved. The path that leads to suffering should be practiced. That is very important. In 4 things, we have to do 4 things. What is the dukkha satya or the suffering? That 5 aggregates. When we realize 5 aggregates, whatever we experience through our senses, it means in the bottom level, 5 aggregates arise at the moment. They are impermanent. They are dissatisfactory. They are egoless. They arise together at the moment. They immediately cease at the moment. They are impermanent. If we can realize these things, actually we have no attachment or detachment. Both of them are extremes. Attachment and detachment as well are extremes. If we can understand this reality, our mind keep in equanimity, upekha. That is why Buddha says, Puttassa loka dhammehi cittang yassana kampati asokhang virajang kheyamang etam mangalamuttamam. Making an unshakable mind among the 8 worldly conditions is the supreme blessing. Equanimity is the supreme blessing. For that, Buddha has proclaimed us to practice the path, which is the 3 disciplines, Sila, Samadhi, Panya. Sila means virtue or discipline. But that Sila belongs to here. Sila, Samadhi, Panya. In this level Sila, we can see 5 precepts here. That 5 precepts belong to the samsaric circle. But in the supramundane level, in Karanimetta Sutta it says, Dittinche anupagamma silava. The virtue not going for extremes. What are the extremes? If we think there is something, that is an extreme. If we think there isn't something, That is also an extreme. Without going to extreme, how we develop our understanding? What is the philosophy of not going to extremes? The understanding of the dependent origination. Asmin sati dhan hoti. When there is, this happens. Asmin asati dhan hoti. When there is not, it is not there. This is the philosophy of understanding the getting rid of suffering. With this understanding, dittincha anupagamma silava. That is why Buddha says, sila and wisdom should be together. When we want to wash one hand, we wash it with other hand. Like that. Wisdom and virtue should be together. Virtue should be purified by wisdom. And also samadhi and panya also like that. Concentration and wisdom should be together. Wisdom purifies concentration. You know, when Buddha's time there were some people who developed loving kindness. They say that we practice loving kindness. Supreme Buddha also practiced loving kindness. Therefore both of us are same. Buddha said, no, you and I are not same. Your concentration, your samadhi is for only samadhi. But our samadhi, our concentration is a part of concentration, part of wisdom. It is not the end. The concentration or samadhi in Buddhism is not the end. It is only a foundation. Concentration helps us to realize the world reality as it is. When the water is in purity, we are unable to see the bottom of the water. When water is clear, we can see the bottom. Like that Buddha says, when our mind is very complex, even though we have understanding, we are unable to see the reality, impermanence as it is. That is why we need to develop our concentration. That is why Buddha has explained the importance of practicing samadhi or concentration. Buddha always encouraged us to keep our attention in the present moment, and he encourages us to purify our mind from 5 hindrances, pancha nivarana. When pancha nivarana or 5 hindrances go away, then we can eradicate 6th hindrance, which is ignorance or delusion. Then we fight with ignorance or delusion, reflecting on impermanence. I is impermanent, forms are impermanent, like that. Corporeality, feelings, sensation, perception, mental formations, we reflect on everything as impermanence. Yes?
Question. So Buddha said that equanimity equals happiness, right?
Yes, actually equanimity has several stages. You know, when we are very weak, when someone hits us, we are in equanimity. That is also one of the equanimities. And also, you know, in the mundane level, when we practice for sublime states, Sattara Brahma Viharana, there also we can see equanimity. Metta, Karuna, Mudita, Upekha. But here finally Buddha has explained Sankhara Upekha. Sankhara Upekha means with the understanding of the arising and ceasing of 5 aggregates, we have an equanimity. That is the highest equanimity.
Because the ultimate happiness.
Yes?
Repeat.
Sankhara Upekha Jnana. There are 10 jnanas, 10 knowledges Buddha has explained. Among them, one of them is that Sankhara Upekha Jnana. When we see the arising and ceasing of 5 aggregates, we live in equanimity. We don't struggle with others. We are unable to control others. We can do only keeping our mind in equanimity. When our physical body is going to decay, sicknesses, death, then we see the realities of the life and we keep our mind in equanimity. Automatically we come to equanimity. We don't create equanimity. With the understanding of the arising and ceasing of high aggregates, automatically we enter the equanimity. We don't need to acquire equanimity. It is a result.
Is that the ultimate happiness then?
Yes, that is the ultimate happiness which, enlightened persons live in. Okay, in the primary level also there is an equanimity with ignorance, with delusion. That is not appreciated in Buddhism. In the primary level, some people, we can see some people who are in equanimity. When you go to lunatic asylums, we can see some people. Yes, they don't respond to anything, and they are like, that is also the deeper level of ignorance. Buddhism doesn't appreciate that equanimity. That is the bottom level of ignorance. But Buddhism encourages us to go to the higher level equanimity with the understanding of our world, our spiritual world. That's the highest equanimity. Okay. Finally, Buddha says, Sabbe sankara anicchati yada panyaya passati atanibindati dukkhe samaggo visuddhya. Everything is impermanent. He who sees this reality with wisdom overcomes suffering. This is the path to purity. Sabbe sankara dukkhati, everything is dissatisfactory. He who sees this reality with wisdom overcomes suffering. This is the path to purity. Sabbe dhamma anatta, every phenomena are impermanent. He who sees this reality with wisdom overcomes suffering. This is the path to purity. Anicca, dukkha, anatta, three characteristics. Understanding the three characteristics is the path to the purity. Path for the purity of our mind. That is the highest thing that we have to realize end of this path. Okay. As the result of this path, we realize three behaviors. Vijnanacharya, Ajnanacharya and Jnanacharya. Vijnanacharya means the behavior of consciousness. Ajnanacharya means the behavior of ignorance. Jnanacharya means the behavior of wisdom. These three things are very important. They come in Patisambhida Magga in Khuddaka Nikaya, in the Charyana Jnana. Vijnanacharya means the very first experience that we receive as the result of our previous actions. When we see something, when we hear something, that is the result of our previous actions. It is very instant. It arises and ceases immediately. We can't stay in this level. When we are ignorant, when we are not mindful, suddenly the next experience is created by ourselves, by our ignorance. If you are not mindful, if you are not wise, the first experience goes to the ignorance. When we look at something, if I am not mindful, if I am not wise, then I think there is a person. Then that understanding is said as Ajnanacharya, the behavior of ignorance. When we make a person outside, we are not away from suffering. When those things are going to decay and old age, we are hugging the suffering. And if you are mindful, suddenly we look at inside, then our first experience goes to Jnanacharya, the behavior of wisdom. Like, such as when we go to a mirror with a pet, our experience is like Jnanacharya, the behavior of wisdom. We never touch the mirror. We never blame mirror, but the innocent pet. It barks at mirror. The pet is in the behavior of ignorance. We are in the understanding of the behavior of wisdom. Only in front of the mirror, but everywhere we are ignorant. Day by day, we should develop this understanding to realize our experience. As soon as we experience something, if we can realize this reality with mindfulness and wisdom, that is the success of our spiritual life. That is the path for the liberation. That is the path for the getting rid of suffering. That is the thing that we should realize. We were born to realize this reality in this life. We have received all facilities in this life to realize this reality. If we don't practice this thing, everything that we earned is useless. We were born in this time for this understanding. We should dedicate everything that we earned for this understanding. Then we can go forward day by day on this path with the blessings of the triple gem and with the blessings of our good friends, acquiring positive thoughts, eradicating negative thoughts, generating positive thoughts with wisdom. Day by day we should go forward. For that we wish you all the best. Okay. Thank you so much for your good attention. Today we discuss the nature of ignorance or delusion, avijja or moha, which is the most severe defilement that Buddha has explained. When we eradicate, when we reduce avijja or ignorance little by little, our attachment and anger reduce. For that, in the first level, we should use some primary techniques such as practicing generosity, practicing virtue of 5 precepts, and practicing loving kindness. Those are the primary techniques that we can use to get some immediate benefits, and those qualities help us to have a blissful life if we die before we attain enlightenment. Okay, thank you for your good listening. By the power of all these meritorious deeds, may our departed relatives also rejoice with this spiritual energy. May they enhance their spiritual life with that intention. Let's share these merits with our departed relatives, reciting the Gatha. Idamme jnātenang hotu sukhitā hontu jnātayo. Idamme jnātenang hotu sukhitā hontu jnātayo. Idamme jnātenang hotu sukhitā hontu jnātayo. By the power of all these meritorious deeds, may guardian deities and angels also receive this spiritual energy. May they enhance their divine energy. May they keep their eye on you too. May they also attain the final bliss of Nibbana. With that intention, let's share these merits with guardian deities and angels too. Ākāsattā ca bummattā devā nāgā mahiddhikā Puññantaṃ anumoditvā chiraṃ rakkhantu sāsanam. Ākāsattā ca bummattā devā nāgā mahiddhikā Puññantaṃ anumoditvā chiraṃ rakkhantu desanam. Ākāsattā ca bummattā devā nāgā mahiddhikā Puññantaṃ anumoditvā chiraṃ rakkhantu Rakkantu Tvang Sada. By the power of all these meritorious deeds, may you be well, happy and peaceful. May no harm come to you. May no problems come to you. May no difficulties come to you. May your all righteous wishes meet with success. Finally, may all of us attain the final bliss of liberation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Dukkha patta cha nindukha, bhaya patta cha nibbaya, sokam patta cha nissoka, hontu sambe pipanino. Sadhu, sadhu.